Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another GCSE revision video. In today's video, we're going to learn about how to get a 9 or an A star in GCSE physics. And today's video is actually the last core video in my GCSE revision series. Notice I said core. I have a small extension to this series coming out very soon. Probably won't be out in a couple of weeks, but I assure you it's coming out. And just my other general lifestyle content. If you're new here, hi, my name's Radhika and I have done a GCSE series on my channel which you can go watch in my back to school playlist. And yeah, let's get started. My first tip is to memorize all of your definitions, because every single year without fail there will be some definition on your paper, whether that's the principle of moments or center of gravity or Newton's second law. There will always be a definition on your physics paper, and definitions are the easiest marks to gain and also the easiest marks to lose if you don't know them, and you don't want to be missing out on that. That's easy stuff. If everyone else is getting those 2 marks or those 3 marks and you're not, you're getting pushed back and you need to compensate for that in some other way. And you don't want to be doing that. Just learn the definitions off, because it will help you so much and will bring you closer and closer to the 9 or A star mark. My next tip is to always write down the equation as your first line of working out. Think about it like this. If you get the question right, you get 3 out of 3. But if you get the question wrong, you get 0 out of 3 if you don't have the equation as your first line of working out. So if you don't do this already, I really encourage you to write down the equation as your first line of working out, because pretty much all exam boards for physics do award 1 mark for writing down the equation as the first step of working out, and it just helps. It gives you a little bit of an advantage. Instead of getting 0 out of 3, you could get 1 out of 3, God forbid you make a mistake. And yeah, that's literally why writing down the equation as the first step of working out is so important and pretty much just an easy mark that you don't want to be losing. Thirdly, you need to be able to understand all the practicals that you do in class. If there's one thing I cannot stress enough, and if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, it is that physics is all practical based. Everything that you learn within the 4 walls of your classroom can always be applied to a real life situation. Let's say in the exam you get a question, then you're actually able to understand the meaning behind the question. If you get asked to outline a method for something, you need to actually step by step say something in your exam, then it makes it a lot easier, because you can just replay each and every action that you did in your class and write that down, and it will help you a lot. Just try and understand the physics behind what you learn, and if you don't, then just ask your teacher. I'm sure your teacher wouldn't mind just taking 5 or 10 minutes here and there to clarify anything that you have, and it will help you a lot in the exam. So yeah, just understand the practicals. That is one thing I cannot stress enough. I keep going on and on and on, but that is because it's so important. My next tip is to find a note-taking strategy that works for you. Now, I've mentioned this before in my chemistry video. I think I actually did it in a lot more detail, but you need to find a strategy that works for you. Now, I found for me, flashcards did not work. I do A-level physics as well, and for flashcards, they would definitely not work at A-level. But even at GCSE, I could never learn physics off a flashcard. I don't know why. Even a mind map, I was like, I think I started with mind maps and I just did not like them. They got a bit too messy and chaotic at the end for me. I prefer the bog standard file paper, 1 highlighter and 1 pen. I don't know, that works best for me. But you want to be able to find a strategy that works for you, something that you can revise off properly, something that you can understand the physics from. See what I did there? And yeah, just try and find a method that works best for you. Finally, I just have some light miscellaneous advice. This is mainly to do with the practical exam, but I suppose it could come up in the main papers as well. Number 1, make sure you learn the correct terminology for apparatus. Make sure you don't do silly things like putting the units in the main body of your table. Write a logical method that makes sense, things like that. These are just small, light things where easy marks get lost, and you don't want to be losing those marks because they push you further and further down the ranking, and it means you get further from the A star mark. Secondly, you want to be able to draw graphs properly. What does that start by? That starts by being able to identify what goes on the y-axis and what goes on the x-axis. I think this is such a silly thing, but I always mix up that. I don't know why. Sometimes I just cannot figure out, even though it could be so obvious. It is primary school stuff, but graph skills are needed for every part of science. A lot of it is mainly to do with physics. Physics is literally all based on graphs. Usually you don't need to join points dot to dot in physics. It's normally a line of best fit or a curve, and that is just such an easy mark to gain, doing a simple line of best fit. But sometimes, I know I've done this before, I would just join the points up dot to dot instead of realizing that I needed to do a curve. So just try and be aware of those things and just don't do those silly things, because you really don't want to be losing those marks. They're just not nice marks to lose, to be honest. And lastly, you want to make sure that you show each and every single step of your working out. Every single step. I've mentioned this in my maths video, but it's basically to do with the fact that, again, if you do get something wrong, the examiner is going to have to sit down and sift through each of your working out steps to try and see, okay, where can I award a mark or two to this person? But if they cannot identify where you did your working out, if it's just so messy, or if you're doing it horizontally, please don't be one of the people that does working out horizontally. I just think it's so bad and messy looking. Also, if you're one of those people that works out in their head, I'm guilty of doing this at times, instead of using a calculator or doing it on the sheet itself. That all means that if, God forbid, you make a mistake somewhere, then you are less likely to get working out marks if the person cannot see, okay, so this is where they messed up. Well, they did the right steps, so I can award them this mark. Just make sure you show each and every step of your working out, so if you make a mistake, someone can identify where you made that mistake and still award you follow-through marks for that. So guys, that is the end of this video. I hope it was informative and I hope it was useful. This video was very short. I feel like when I'm filming it, it's... Oh my god, I nearly dropped my water bottle. This video was very short. I feel like for physics, a lot of the stuff I've already mentioned in my maths video and my chemistry video, some of the things overlap. I wasn't sure whether I was going to make this video, if I'm being completely honest, because I thought, well, a lot of it, I didn't really do anything extra, but I just want to reinforce the fact that at the end of the day, physics is like any other science. You just have to learn certain strategies to try and maximize your marks in the exam. Like I said before, this is the last core video in my revision series, but don't worry, there are more GCSE videos coming your way. But I also want to say that I am not a study channel. By no means am I trying to be one. That is not my niche. I do like studying content, but I don't want to just stick to that. I want to make other lifestyle content and fashion content, and yeah, just explore YouTube and be creative. So if you don't want to miss any of my other videos, you might want to subscribe. You can join our little community here on YouTube. If this video was useful, I'd really appreciate if you could like this video, because it helps it reach out to so many new people. And if you want to comment something down below, comment what was your favorite part of the video. All of your comments really do make my day. So yeah, if anyone has any more questions, you can comment them down below or DM me on Instagram. Finally, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I hope you get that 9 or A star in GCSE physics, because you deserve it. Bye!